Welcome to Superhero Pow. I'm your host nerd, Tom Frumkin. Hey, how you doing today? Or tonight, or whenever you wanted to tune in. Hope the world, or I suppose society, is treating you well. One thing I wanted to talk about was kind of how society works or acts. Moreover, the price of back issues. The fun of comics, aside from reading new comics, is reading old comics, back issues, checking out classic and popular stories you missed, or maybe you're interested in a character and just wanted to see some of their old adventures. This can lead to the extremely popular pastime, filling holes in your collection. I don't know about you, but I keep a list of comics I'm interested in on my cell phone. So that way, whenever I happen to go back issue shopping, I always know what I'm looking for. One thing that has been brought to my attention lately is the rising cost of back issues. I think this dovetails with my favorite complaint, variant covers. I can't go 2 seconds without mentioning them. But here I think it goes to the whole flipper mindset that has taken over comic books, and I suppose the whole collector pastime as well. People with a fair amount of money driving up the prices of back issues because they see them as investments or even a get-rich-quick scheme. I was even in a store the other day, and a guy actually came in and asked the guy working the register to sell him a new comic that he knew was going to go up in price in the next 10 years. That was all he wanted. Oy. Now I suppose maybe in his defense he was just trying to get a gift for somebody or something, but still. The clerk tried to be respectful, and I don't even recall what the customer ended up buying, but as the clerk remarked to me later, if he knew which comics were going to go up in price, like he'd be working there, right? I've started to nickname these people comic bros, as in, bro, you got to get this comic. Money, money, money. Babes, babes, babes. Well, maybe not babes, but, you get my point. And while, okay, I get it, there's fun and all that, you're still kind of ruining it for the rest of us. These people don't care about stories. Maybe they did when they were younger, but it's all about dollar signs and often keeps comics out of the hands of people who truly want them. Reminds me of the unopened, sealed card game trader boxes. There's a whole market for that. And it's like, people are just selling boxes. You never open them up. You never play the game. You're just buying a bunch of boxes that you can hope you can sell later. What a waste. Same thing with comic book slabs, to me anyway. You buy a comic book and then you seal it up so it can never be appreciated again. What the? You want to make money? Invest in the stock market or buy bonds. You're going to make way more money doing that than flipping comic books. And you're not going to fill your house up with a bunch of boxes that a natural disaster can just wipe off the planet. I suppose I'm too grumpy, but if you ain't playing with it, you probably shouldn't have it. Now, of course, I understand comic books from, say, like the 1940s being expensive, because back then few people were saving them, and most were probably thrown away, so I get it, they're rare. I also have to admit I have a little bit of pride when I hear about Action Comics #1 or something like that selling for $1 million. It's like, yeah, take that, whoever made fun of me when I was a kid. Well, actually, I was never really bullied. I suppose I was lucky. I got a couple of sideways glances from people now and then, but nothing really more than a, whatever, nerd. So yeah, $1 million. Take that, you non-nerd. But in this current flipper gig economy, things seem to be a little nuts. But to be fair, comic book stores still have $1 bins. I picked up a few issues of DC's Vigilante series from the 1980s in a dollar bin. Not issue #1, but a few of the very early issues. And he's the guy who just showed up in the Peacemaker show. And is it odd that the Peacemaker got his own show before Vigilante? I would assumed Vidge was a bigger character. Anyway, I guess the world's not ending yet. But it is unfun at times. As a few of my own personal examples, I was reading Grant Morrison's Action Comics run, during the New 52, and wasn't that into it, so I dropped out after about 5 issues or so. I've been thinking about picking up the rest of it, or maybe just the first 12 issues. Get a good solid chunk of it. Well, in issue number 9, Grant introduced Calvin Ellis, a black Superman from a parallel world. I assume he's not African, like in the same way that Clark is not European. And this character has yet to do anything meaningful in the DCU. He's never had his own series, it's just nothing. But that first appearance issue now costs over $100 because flippers. And I'm not paying over $100 for a comic book. Heck, I'm not even spending $50 on a comic book. But, that's just me. I have friends who do, and that's fine. But I'd rather spend that kind of coin on something else. So I'll probably never have the first 12 issues of Grant Morrison's Action Comics run. Another comic book I'll have to learn to live without is Daredevil number 158. You see, when I was a wee lad, somehow I had gotten my hands on Daredevil number 156 and 157. And it's a 3-issue story featuring Deathstalker. I think that's what his name is. But I never got the final issue of the story, and now I pretty much never can. You know why? How good is your comic book history? Well, it's the first issue of Daredevil drawn by Frank Miller. Not written by him, just drawn by him, and it sells for well over $50. C'est la vie. Though isn't it odd that Calvin Ellis's sells for a much higher price than Miller's? You flippers are weird. I suppose we have trade back books now, so I can one day finally finish reading the story. But you're a comic book fan. It's not the same thing, right? You want the comic. At least until you die, and then your kids have to figure out what to do with all these boxes. That got dark. I suppose I need to wrap up with what we can do about all this. But I kind of got nothing. The flipper market has just been growing since about 2010 and really shows no signs of stopping. The only thing we can really do is just stop buying back issues. Or, maybe have a hard limit on what to spend, nothing over $20 on a single issue. If everybody does this, then prices will come down and it'll scare away all the flippers. But that's a bitter pill, I know. You got any ideas? Overall, I guess it's just society. I remember a comedian, sorry I don't remember your name, but he had a story about being in a movie theater where a couple had brought in a screaming baby. Not, as he was saying, not a little kid, but a baby. And he mentioned it to an usher who just helplessly shrugged and said, "Some people suck." So I don't know. Some people suck. But most of them don't. And most back issues are still affordable, so what the hell am I even talking about? I don't know. What do you think? Are the prices getting out of control for us normal, he says with air quote, fans? Well, either way, thanks for spending time with me. And if you can be so kind to like, subscribe, and notify, maybe I'll finally be able to afford that comic book. Take care of yourself out there.